The passion for the guys, that's who I do it for. We demand a lot out of them, and we challenge them in a lot of different ways. And I feel like that, it's my responsibility to give them guys everything that I have, and in return, they would do the same to me. And so being able to come here every single day and give those guys the energy, the intensity, the motivation, whatever it is that they might need is something that gets me popping out of bed every single morning.
All right, welcome into another episode of From the 513. Getting a chance today to talk to defensive line coach here at the University of Cincinnati, Walter Stewart. This is unique because you had such a storied playing career at the university as well, so I don't have to ask you why Cincinnati when it comes to coaching, but let me ask you, what is it about Cincinnati that makes this place so special?
Well, it's just it's an awesome town, number one. Blue collar environment. The fans are absolutely bonkers about sports, and it's just one of them places that you can raise your family, get a great education. This place brings a lot to the table, and so it's just a really special place for me. I met my wife here. We both graduated from McMickens, the College of McMickens, so it's been really awesome to be back, and just a really special place.
How far along from when you were a player to now coaching did you know that you wanted to be a coach at this level?
Man, I kind of fell into it, to be honest with you. I always felt a kind of a coaching itch, coming up, and the type of player that I was. And so once I finished and graduated from school, Butch had put a filler out there to me if I ever wanted to coach. And, once I got done playing ball, I kind of took him up on it. And, I've been rolling with it ever since. So, it's been an awesome experience being able to come back and coach here. But just to kind of grow in the business with, guys like Steve Stripling and Butch, and be around them, it kind of really propelled me and it kept me in it.
How much do you rely on not only the fact that you've played and played at a high level, but you've been in these meeting rooms at the University of Cincinnati? How much does that allow you to relate to these student athletes who are going through probably a lot of the similar situations mentally and physically that you went through as a player?
Well, I get to do a lot of the old back in my day talk, right? Back in my day, when we went to higher ground and when we had position meetings, I get to use that all the time. So it's definitely helpful, to have already done it, especially done it at this place with some of the unique things that we do when it comes to development. And so it makes it a lot easier to kind of, translate the different things and the different phases of football to the guys, throughout the year. So being a former player here, actually, it helps out a lot. And then, it's easy, right? I mean, heck, I've been there, done that, and so these guys get the better versions of those things that, that we went through back in the day. So, having that experience has been really, really awesome and beneficial.
When you're sitting down, whether it's a recruit and a family in high school or out of the portal, what's your main message about why come to the University of Cincinnati?
First of all, Coach Sat, Coach Sat's the real deal. Having an opportunity to work with him, and for the guys to be able to play for Coach Sat, he's an awesome dude. He's a great man, a great leader. And then, the brotherhood that's here, it's something that's special. And, a couple years ago or a year or two ago when I originally came back here, I was at a baby shower with one of our teammates, Cam Cheatham, actually. And I'm sitting in this baby shower. We're in Cincinnati or in the north side. And I'm there. There's another one of my former buddies from Reuben Johnson is there. That's New Jersey. Malcolm Murray is there. That's California. George Wynn is there. That's Detroit. Mm-hmm. And I'm just sitting there like all of these guys are from all over the country, but yet we're here in Cincinnati. And Cam Cheatham, he's from Kalamazoo. Yeah. And he lives in Cincinnati. So it was just like one of those surreal moments of like, wow, like after all these years, we're all still connected to the city.
Having the chance to work, to play here, and now work to coach here, what motivates you every morning when you wake up and you come to do this job?
Man, well, number one for me, it's my family. They especially my wife, she's really allowed for me to kind of take this football thing and run with it. And really just the passion for the guys, that's who I do it for. We demand a lot out of them, and we challenge them in a lot of different ways. And I feel like that, it's my responsibility to better give them guys everything that I have, and in return, they would do the same to me. And so being able to come here every single day and give those guys the energy, the intensity, the motivation, whatever it is that they might need is something that gets me popping out of bed every single morning.
We had a chance to play together, and it wasn't, I believe, as hard back then to establish and create culture, because you had guys that were developing for years and years and years.
No question. Yeah.
Today's sport, it's different. You got guys that come in the portal. You got high school guys. How different is it, and how do you describe the culture that you guys have here at UC?
Well, it's definitely a lot different, because of the things that you just said, as far as, the amount of different players that come in and out and the timing of it. But it's still a real critical piece to football. It's a critical piece to development as far as the connectivity. And so over the past 3 years, we've really, pushed the togetherness and found different ways to continue to bring these guys together. And at this point, it's extremely player-led. I mean, it is really impressive. I get goosebumps thinking about it, because I get to kind of see what we kind of did, and then now I'm watching these guys, and I'm like, well, heck, these guys only been knowing each other for 6 months, and yet, they're going bowling, they're hanging out, they're having cookouts, they're watching film, they're spending time together. And to see that is really awesome, and it's 100% player-led. I mean, it is amazing, the amount of things that these guys do together, and how, with the culmination of these past 3 years, of how the culture has kind of took over. And, I just think about, like Gavin Gerhardt, for example, investing a lot of time in James Early, one of our true freshmen that just got here, right? And then I think about so many different examples of different position groups, different backgrounds, whether it's transfer or high school, and how these guys take care of each other, is really, really impressive.
Take me inside an early defensive line meeting now with different guys coming in, and everyone's together. What are those day one pillars that you're instilling for this group to be successful?
I would say that the one of the things that we really try to preach is competition, especially within our room. And, we have a really healthy competition amongst the guys. We talk a lot about effort and just, going as hard as you can in everything possible, whether that's in the classroom, whether that's off the field, whether it's freaking cooking, whatever it is. We talk about going as hard as you possibly can. And a huge thing for us up front is just being unselfish. Being a defensive lineman, there's going to be times you're going to have 4 hands on you. There's going to be times where, you're going to have a double team on you that don't go anywhere, and there has to be a level of selflessness to play up front. And so those 3 things are things that we kind of harp on, and the guys understand, and they kind of embrace those things, and then it makes it a lot easier for us to go ahead and execute and continue pushing the culture forward.
I would imagine those competitions were a little easier for you. If you look back to 2009, the offense, as I remember it, seemingly dominated the defense every single day. And you guys were probably able to learn just so much from that. No,
there it is. I knew it was coming.
The iron sharpens iron mentality of, a good defense versus a good offense every day at practice. How much does that pay off when you get to work against a strong group? I mean, I think of you guys this year, and Joe Royer's back, and Sorsby's back, and the running game should be explosive. There's explosiveness on the outside. How much does getting to go against a group like that help your defense on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, it's critical. I mean, Sorsby is one of the better quarterbacks in college football. Gavin Gerhardt is a heck of a player up front. Joe, and a lot of the new skill guys that we got is critical to be able to go against that type of talent, that type of toughness, on a day-to-day basis. And for us, we want as many challenges as possible before, game day and before kickoff. And so the beautiful thing about it is that we got those guys on our roster. And so when we match up, whether it's 1-on-1s, 7-on-7, pass rush, team segments, different situational competitions, you go and get some of the best guys that you can find, and to have those guys on a roster, it definitely helps grow our guys and put them in position to be able to compete against the best in the Big 12.
You're unique in a situation from playing it to now coaching it. I can't imagine the level of pride when you get to do it from a coaching standpoint and get to see what you've instilled now pay off for someone else on the field. Is there a moment early on from a coaching standpoint that you look back on as like, man, this is it? Like, to see you pour yourself into someone else and then them have the success. How special is that from a coaching standpoint?
Oh, it's pretty awesome. That's what keeps me coming back. Being able to see, like a Dante Corleone go from a true freshman who's quiet and, decent confidence into where he is now, or seeing like a Eric Phillips go from, a 300-pound man to a 260-pound man to, a graduate to a father. And just the names, Jawan, being a dad early and being married, and just the different scenarios that you see out of these guys over the years and the development, on and off the field, it just it keeps me coming back, and that's a big reason why I do it.
How do you deal in today's age of college football? Everyone feels like they should be playing right away in the portal and high school, and you got to worry, is someone going to want to leave? How do you handle those conversations when a player is maybe unhappy with how much playing time they're getting?
Well, again, up front, there's a bit of unselfishness that comes along with the position, and that's something that we talk about and we have open lines of communication about. And another thing that we kind of touch on, to that point, is we talk about IRU, and that's something that within our defensive line room, indisputable role understanding. And everybody has a role, and everybody has a role that they have earned. This isn't, a deal where we just handing out playing time, we handing out reps. Our guys understand what hard work and competition is. And so, the guys understand that the roles that they have earned are the roles that they will get, and more importantly, be the best at your role, right? If you a pass rush guy, you be the best pass rush guy that we got. If you a scout team guy, you be the best scout team guy that we have, right? And so that's something that our players understand. And so when it comes to, playing time or, opportunities, that's what we kind of revert back to, and that's something that we communicate and talk with the guys about often, because a lot of things can get lost in translation there. But when you understand what that IRU is, and it happens, and that's what you've earned, then now it's time to go be dominant at it. And I think that's what makes us special up front, because the guys understand that and they take it and they run with it.
As a coach, you guys are watching a ton of film. So let's say you're flipping on the film for a portal guy or a high school guy. In the first few moments, what would jump off a player's film to you to know that, okay, this guy's going to fit here?
If they play hard. That's something that's not changing. Up front, you got to play hard. You might not always have the best matchup. It might not be always the best defensive play call. You might get a read that's a little funky, but at the end of the day, are your ears peeled back, and are you running? Are you going as hard as you can to go figure out what it is that need to get done on that particular play? And that's something that we try to, keep consistent throughout all the players that we recruit. And then really number two, just the type of person that they are. This is a blue-collar town. It's a blue-collar team. We work hard. You know what I'm saying? We really get after it. We challenge our guys. And so when we start to get to know these players, transfer or high school, and we can kind of see those traits of the hard-working mentality, the never give up mentality, the chip on the shoulder mentality, them are the type of guys that we are attracted to, that this program has been built off of. And so if you play your butt off and you work really, really hard, our job is to do the rest, and so those are some of the traits that we look for in our guys.
You mentioned those traits. You could draw back to those traits on a lot of the guys that have come to UC and now playing at the highest level, not only on a roster, but arguably some of the best at their position in the National Football League. So from a recruiting standpoint, how much can you lean on that of, the proof is here. If you come and you put the work and you can reach that highest level and be a factor at the high level?
Yeah, I mean, it's really neat to see the different examples that we have that are playing professionally. And it's something that we challenge our players now with is, hey, our best players are our hardest workers. I mean, that's real. We both know how hard Jason worked. You know what I'm saying? You know how hard Derek Wolf used to grind back in the day, and Sauce and Ivan. Ivan was a madman at practice. Like, them guys work hard. And so those are key fundamentals and what we're looking for in our guys. And so when you see them guys transition to the next level, it's real fitting, to see where their careers go. And it carries with you. That hard work, that chip on the shoulder mentality, that's something that carries with you when you go to the next level, and you can see the production because of it.
You had a chance to be a part of the Orange Bowl and be a major part of the Sugar Bowl. This team has gone to the college football playoff. How hungry are you? How hungry is this staff to get UC back to the top of where you want to be?
Starving. I'm talking about, if I lift my shirt up, you'll see my ribs right now. You know what I'm saying? This is a place that wins. Let's make no bones about it. And, a part of why I even came here was because of the understanding of what the transition was going to entail, the difficulty in the facility being built, and we still got to practice, the difficulty of going from G5 to Power 4, the difficulty of now we playing these teams and we playing these teams now, or hey, we're recruiting against this crop of teams. Now all of a sudden, now we're recruiting against a different level of competition. That's why I came back here. That's why I wanted to be back here. And so now we are in a position where we've built this thing out the past 3 years, where now it's hard to contain it, right? It's hard to contain, what we're going to do when the ball kick off on Saturday. It's hard to contain it because as a coach, we get to see this thing build up in the work that we've been putting in the past 3 years. And so the guys understand that now is time to go ahead and make a statement, and that's what this year is going to be about for us in a lesser degree, to go out there and get this thing going in the direction that we want to be. And we've been putting in the work, right? You got to put the time in.
Right.
Right? It ain't no shortcuts. This is football. That's something, hey, at the end, this is football. You still got to lift, you got to run, you got to train, you got to take care of yourself off the field, you got to be dominant in the classroom. That stuff has to build. That's time that you got to put in. And so now we're in a situation where we feel like the time that we've invested into our culture, our players, our facilities, our recruiting, all right, now we're starting to see a little bit of those things pay off, and it's really neat to see. So I'm fired up, man. I can't wait. I can't wait for it.
I think playing hard is one thing, playing fast, and the way in which the game can slow down once you're more knowledgeable about what you're doing. You guys implemented a brand new system and kind of just hit the ground running with it. And at the same time, Dante Corleone was taken off the field for a period of time. You're kind of scrambling the whole way. Year two of a system, how much different is it to settle in a little bit more and expand the playbook of what you want to do each and every time you take the field?
Oh, it's a big deal, and it's the same thing we're dealing with college football, right? Where, how many times can a player go through the same off-season, installs, academic routines, performance routines over and over and over again, and now we just get a second time at that, which is huge. It's huge. The terminology, right? The recognition, all of the things that come along with learning, scheme and fundamental. Now, you already did it before, and so the information is already there. Now we just trying to refine it, right? Now we trying to refine how we communicate, what else can we do in addition to, and it's really also from a player standpoint of being able to watch film and watch the teach tape of yourself, right? You ain't watching somebody else's defense to figure out how we doing it or whatever. No, we just watching our film. We just refining what we've done. And so that is something that I'm also excited about as well, because, we can kind of turn it up a little bit and cut it loose even more, now that we got the foundation of the defense and the fundamentals kind of laid already. So it's a really big deal.
Very unique front that you guys have, but also guys that you were going to rely on last year go down to injury. So you rely on young guys. You have veterans coming back, and at the core of it, you have a guy that could have went to the NFL from Cincinnati that chose to come back. Talk about the makeup of your guys up front and how many guys you're going to be having to rely on going into this year.
Man, tough and nasty, baby. The guys have done such a great job of just gelling and taking care of themselves. You know, something that we've kind of re-looked at, which is how, you know, we take care of the guys and how we train them and all the science and stuff behind that. And we've kind of leaned into that, you know, to ensure that we stay healthy. But, you know, we got a lot of veteran players. We got a lot of guys with some experience. We have a lot of scheme versatility up front. You know, we're extremely deep. This is by far one of the deepest units I've had since I've been coaching in my 10 whatever years doing it. And so we have opportunity to find matchups. You know, we can match up with anybody. We can put certain guys in specific situations. We can package guys. And so I'm really excited about being able to kind of show off, you know, the different talent that we have within the room. And, you know, this offseason we've been really investing into, okay, hey, these guys can do these things, these guys can do those things. You know, what's the best way to use them? So we got a lot of really, really good players that we can use in a lot of different scenarios, and I'm fired up about it.
There's a lot of excitement about showing off the indoor practice facility. How fired up are you? It's all encompassing, recruiting and nutrition and recovery and meetings and practice and lifting. How exciting is this?
It's really, really, really awesome. You know, again, my lens on Cincinnati football is just so different, you know, because of, you know, being a former player, and to see that building and to be able to envision what it's going to be able to provide for us, well, really for the program on a day-to-day basis, it's hard to put it into words. I mean, to go from a lift, walk right out of the weight room to the practice football field to be able to do work is just, that's something that's never happened here. You know what I mean? And so to be able to have, you know, those type of resources, you know, at our fingertips, is pretty phenomenal. And, you know, it's well-deserved for our guys. And I think that it's going to be huge in helping us continue our development of the team, you know, and growing what we want this thing to grow to. So it's really awesome what they've done over there.
Lastly, you get to walk the hallways and see all the former players that have played here. Also, you see the coaches that have coached at the University of Cincinnati. You've already been able to leave your legacy at UC as a football player. What do you want your legacy at UC to be as a football coach?
Man, I want to be the best. I mean, that's why we compete. You know, that's why we show up every single day. I want to be the best. You know, coming back here, I had the goal of, you know, not only helping with the transition, but leaving a legacy of one of the best to ever do it here. And not just from a football standpoint of, you know, putting guys in the NFL, but just developing men. You know, again, a big core of why I do it is for the guys. And something that, you know, I've always stuck with is if we can grow these guys up, football is easy. And so, you know, that's something that motivates me every single day, is to not only, you know, be the best for myself and my personal reasons, but also be the best for the guys that, you know, I'm working with, you know, the coaches and the guys that I'm working for, the players. Like, I want to be the best for them. And so that's the legacy that I want to leave here, is I want to be one of the best coaches that ever came through here. You know, I want to be remembered as a guy that really gave everything that he had to the program, and that's something that I take a lot of pride in.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Thank you.
No problem.